Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Sorry I didn't have the time to actually make a video last night, but we made sure to get you those daily expected moves over on Patreon, where I put a decimal in the wrong place and it said the SPY was going to go potentially to negative 2,000 or something. So sorry about that, but we fixed it really, really quickly, right? I saw it within like 2 seconds. It's like some decimal place got moved here, but thank you guys so much for being here today. Finn coming in saying, hey, I want to give $5 right away. Finn, how are you doing out there? Hope you're doing well. Hope your plays are going pretty good. Give me some good news, Lucas. I mean, the good news is I have a signal today for you guys to pay attention to. Do you want to see it? Maybe we'll wait till some more people get in, but we do see those daily expected moves: 574.25 to the upside, 562.93 to the downside. And thank you so much, Finn, for the super chat. Thank you, big boy. Appreciate it. Wolf names Robert Furl as the new CEO. Stock fell 45% for yesterday. Oh, poor Wolfie boy. Poor Wolfie boy. Now, the one thing here is remember that the 2 hour is still in positive territory. And remember that this 30-minute is by no means absolutely collapsing. And we still are holding the divergence down here on the RSI. Something we're looking for is that gap fill. But a lot of people that say, hey, that has to fill. It has to fill. It has to fill. It doesn't. Okay. I know everyone's going to tell you, and it happens a lot of the time. So you be paying attention to it, right? But it doesn't have to. That's the thing. Nothing about this says I have to go to here. It's just something that likely happens in markets, and throughout history, it happens a lot of the time that if you're at least close to a gap, you usually fill that within, say, 5 trading sessions. And then we could go to that downside daily expected move and see that thing produce some positivity. That would be very interesting. Now, why would that be very interesting for us to reverse around from these type of areas and start to see that upside? Well, because one, we're heading into the end of the month, right? Monday, we have that 68% chance just to close here on Monday. And that would be potential confirmation there. So we'll be paying attention to it. But also on the opposite side of that, we see this on volatility. So the signal that I wanted to show you guys that I found as I was looking through stocks this morning, I go, well, let's see if volatility gives us a hint. Here's where it's very important because this is very, very cool. You see that this point is higher than this point is higher than this point is higher than this point. You have held divergence the entire way, but the main divergence we care about are these two crossings. Okay, if this would cross down, then that could lead to negativity, but right now things are facing up, so just be aware that most of this is pointing towards downside, and we're going to have to see that shift. Okay, we're going to have to see that shift, but we do see the divergence here. We see this right here in the 2 points, 1, 2. Those are really the 2 points that we care about at this point. That means a 2 hour can curl down. Now, does that mean the selling has to be over? We're going to watch out for divergence or something down towards 1683, right? If we see this start to pop up, we got to be able to react because that is probably the lower high scenario. Remember, we're paying attention to a potential lower high. So we could see one big move, maybe squeeze for a couple of days, and then we actually see this turn to the upside. So we'll see if that's going to take place. I think that is a little bit less likely considering we are getting the slowing QT, right? Reduction of QT. And on April 2nd, I believe there's some tariff things from Trump that's supposed to come out as well. Maybe the CTAs actually get involved. We'll see. So if I were looking at markets today, and I had positions to the upside like I do right now, I'd really be watching for my management of the trade. That would be the 4-hour chart for me. And then on the other hand, I would also be looking at that volatility signal because if the SPY is going to start to make momentum moves to the upside, I think it's very likely that the stocks that we pay attention to, the ones that I have, right, something like Amazon, would potentially be turning around as well. Looking at something like Amazon right now, it's heading to the downside. We're looking like, hey, can we tap into the zone? We can go fill that gap even, and I'm okay with it. But at this point, you would say, hey, this could be structure to head lower. If this can whip back up all of a sudden, the 2 hour is overall still positive in positive territory. I think it filled overnight. I think we've touched it a few times in the, say, extended hours. So you put extended hours on and you've touched it a few times, but I like it to fill during market hours. And that's, I think, where the percentages lie. But I'm just reminding people it doesn't have to happen, right? It doesn't have to happen. And look, you're still holding the tapering here, even if you include the extended hours. I'd probably want to open that up to an hourly and just be like, okay, am I seeing it good on the RSI? Okay, it's there. Awesome. I think the 2 hours is very likely to turn up, and I think downside price action could be pretty trappy this morning with the signals we have. If those trap signals do not confirm, then it might not be a trap. It might be real, and we could head all the way down to 550. So that's where we're prepared with our plan if it goes wrong. Just waiting on that NVIDIA to pop, and I think a lot of people are waiting on the NVIDIA pop. And here's the thing about the NVIDIA pop. Well, NVIDIA went to a key level. Now, it's really close to going down to this gap fill, so we'll see. But it is creating those same divergences on the RSI. So we don't have to go lower at this point. If we would cross, it would seem probable. And we have daily expected moves for you on Patreon for NVIDIA today and all the other stocks that we do cover: Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, AMD, Meta, DJT, SoFi, Palantir, all of those, right? Everything over here, we got a daily expected move for today, which is very, very cool. Because if we head to the downside and you see the daily expected move there, it'd say you have a 68% chance to land the day above that line. So that's very interesting to me that we are creating these divergences and that the 2-hour could just simply turn up into positive territory. The daily scale hasn't confirmed down, so I'm not necessarily overly bearish here. And I'm not even bearish if we end up back down here. I'm potentially going to be going, okay, awesome, cheaper prices, daily divergence, right? We see how if this would pop up, how much steam that would have behind it once it actually did rip. And what we're talking about is that rip happening now with almost a higher low. So we'll be watching for it, but even if it goes down to that buy zone again, unless we're breaking through it and completely violating divergence, I'm not necessarily thinking that NVIDIA has to be this big collapse continued. I could be wrong, and that's why I have the management of the trade, right? My managing of my trade will be the thing that keeps me safe from if I am wrong and we're just going to see something plummet. I'm still not going to be in calls at that point if my management of the trade trigger happens. Aloha, legends. Hope you are all well. Happy Friday. What's up, Laws? How you doing? Aaron, thanks for bringing up NVIDIA. It's good to look over at that. It's been a nice run for a couple months. Time to book some losses. Seems don't like my long plays anymore. Yeah, you got to trade how you're comfortable. I wanted to make sure to be comfortable in this. That's why I gave myself some time and gave myself some more room for error. I'm willing to lose just a little bit more in order to try to hold through some of this mess that I think is going to resolve itself by seeing an upward move to 585 and if not 600 soon. I think you have like 2 weeks and then you're going to be looking back at this above 585. That's how I think it's going to go, but I need to see it proven in the charts, right? That's me just saying something. I need to see it proven in the price action. Today we do have a reversal signal, sorry, mumbling, on the 30-minute. All right? So this could literally be a gap and trap right out the gate. We'll see. I don't think it would be right out the gate. I think you're going to see maybe I think you see maybe little gap, fill it real quick, turn back down, get to these levels, then you set that big trap. That would be the best way to trap people for the day. But before we get into that, let's go look at some levels to pay attention to. We still see that 525, someone down there. Oof, my goodness. When that comes off, that's going to be very interesting because you don't necessarily see that going into next week. I don't believe you do. Why does this option feel funky to me? Huh. We'll look at that later on. Either way, though, you look at this and you're going, okay, all these low points, this is really what's holding down the market, I think, right now. But see 565, 560. So right in between that is our daily expected move. So 562 is a great level to pay attention to. And then to the upside, 575, 580. Okay, awesome. So now we know a few little levels. I don't think we need to pay attention to 525 too seriously, but we also see how the weekly or the daily expected move is where? Well, it's right at 574. Right above that is 575. So that's where that call wall comes in. And then to the downside, right, we'd be paying attention to 565 to 560. Okay, where's 565 to 560? That is right here, all the way down to here. Hey, look what's within look what is within that. Our daily expected move as well. So the daily expected moves are in some great key levels. Just wanted to show that off. Now, we did get personal income and personal spending right before we open up here. Let's go over that for a second. Core PCE coming in at 0.4. I think I'm mostly paying attention to the personal income going up. That's very good. And it was revised up. That's a very good sign. And then the other thing is personal spending. So we see personal spending slightly, I would say, lower than what was expected, but the revision came in here, and 0.4 still very close to what people were expecting after a very bad read last time. So you can definitely see a way that people could read into this somewhat positively, but you would have liked to see just a bigger number, I think, out the gate. As far as Michigan consumer sentiment final here, coming out 30 minutes after the open, that's one thing we will be paying attention to. So let's start up a little poll or something. I don't know. Maybe we should start up a poll or something for the live stream. Maybe we should ask some people, hey, you know what? What do you think? Do you think today ends red or green? Let's do that. Let's do a does the SPY end the day? Pause. Well, let's do red or green. You guys know red or green. Red or green means positive or negative or positive. All right? Just so we're clear. Can't just be a green bar. It's got to be negative or positive. Can't just be a red bar. It's got to be a negative red bar. Got it? That's your vote. Negative or positive, red or green. How's it going to end? How's it going to end? Sorry, I had to switch over, make sure I have volatility up on my other charts. Spread this out so I can see it pretty good. All right, there. Now it's nice and large. Perfect. Pull this over, close this out, get back over into this. Okay. So what you think about April 2nd? I think that we're going to see a boom past April 2nd. I think we could start it now. I think you legitimately could start it like Friday, see a little bit of upside, get that big gap up on Monday that we keep seeing, and then that'll lead you into the April 1st, April 2nd, maybe April 1st. We do see like volatility down by 10%, and then it calls a down day, and then we're down on Tuesday on April 1st, but then April 2nd, we see that pullback and just start to explode. I genuinely think that could actually happen here, but I'm aware that this market is the market of confusion, so I'm expecting some chop back and forth. We'll see if that's able to take place. See Tesla 33, 4. That's such a great little thing to do there, right? It's great for you to just be like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a ton of time. That's what we like short Fridays. I actually don't mind it. Something that I would start to consider as you start to say, okay, we're in some kind of, a top in some way is forming. This ended up being a correction. In my mind, it's already proven to be somewhat of a correction and is going to be, even at the end of the day, if you go down to 550, I think it'll still be known as a correction when we look back on this later on. But that side of things, how are you going to play it? And then also, what are we going to do if a crash actually were to happen? If a top actually formed, do you have that plan already in place? Is your money in a way that if Tesla went down dramatically, if Apple went down dramatically, would you be in a place to invest in those? And why would you invest in certain ones? One of the ones I am looking at is Tesla, because Tesla is trying to really innovate. And that's why I've been looking at that one. And then I'm looking at a few other ones. What are you guys looking at? Tom Lee said the same, April 2nd squeeze. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm with Tom Lee now. I'm with Tom, and he's putting a date on it. I think we could start it today by the end of the day. I think we could start it going into Monday. But the other thing is, you don't have to close in these ranges. That's just the more probable thing. I'm still plenty prepared for us to do this. Right? This can happen. Then we can start to see maybe upside on Monday. We could still land outside of that move and curl back up. So I'm not worried about this. I think that we are more likely with a reversal signal on volatility to see this gap down, right? I think it might even come up and fill. Then it's going to go back down, go to the daily expected move, and then turn up into positive territory, all while maintaining the volatility signals. I think that would be a great way to manipulate people right here on Friday. Shave your what, Bernie? All I see is sitting on sport. I'm heavy on sems. Yeah, semis have really struggled. So if you've been trying to play the semis recently, really recently, it's been tough, right? That's the leader of the pack, just like not really doing much. So It's a tough one, right? It's tough, but that's where you just look at, hey, is the plan there for if something went wrong? Did something go wrong? What am I looking for it to go back to right, to get back in? Those are the kinds of things that I think were decisions for this week. I made that decision here, saw this, made decisions in here, and now I'm just going to hold for a bit of time. But yeah, I still have volatility up over here. It is unconfirming at the moment. Feels like squeezed to the downside. I wouldn't say that. More so seems like people are still in that, and you are still in a short-term trader narrated market right now, right? It takes the big, long, the bigger medium-term players to come in. Those big players that like to buy for say 6 months and just have that buy and ride that thing. I think you're seeing a lot of the smaller traders come in. Big traders might have made a move here. Smaller traders take over. Smaller traders take over. Big players push it up, smaller players take over. We retest into key areas. Hey, small player takes over, but if a big player plays here, that can be a big problem because that means you might start to squeeze. All right, maybe damn, I thought for sure. I thought we were gonna do this, like we're coming back. Okay, get bullet. Oh no, go bearish. We'll see. So I want to see how that PCC comes out. The CPC came in at zero point 0.8. We still realize that this is not a very high reading. Okay, we've seen one tag up into that area. You still might need more tags into that area to see this thing actually go against those trades. It just looks too good to not end up being like an upside move. Like even if we go make a daily divergence, I'm like, yeah, okay. Sounds fun. Good day, Ta. Any nines out there? Any nines for you today, Ta? 28. Oh wait, that's 10. Actually, 28 is 10 plus the month. It would be 13, or would be what? 10 plus 3, 13. Oh But that's funny because we've been in an uptrend for a while, and 2025 calculates to 9. Holy 2025 might be a 9 reversal? Look at this, going down to the gap first thing in the morning here. Let's see what happens with it. This is great stuff. How's that vote coming along? Looks like as of right now, we have 62%. 62% say green. 37 say red. So if our chat, we're taking that into consideration and say not all of us are geniuses, well then a contrarian might say we end up red today. Isn't that kind of a scary thing to think about? Don't let him manipulate your trades, right? I'm just talking, being cheeky. Yes, sir, it does. You're figuring it out. I see. I'm learning, Ta. I'm learning from you. I'm learning the real 10. Just look for 9s everywhere. Like GME. I was gonna get real tinny for you for a second, but I was like, that's just too silly. I was gonna make up so much math there. Is the white line descending on your chart? Like pointing downward? Yeah, it's trying to flatten out. Look at this. It's by no means is this turned around yet. But you can see it kind of get that little bump, like, okay, we're trying to slow this down if that's what you're talking about. Oh, oh. Oh, Chopop Gangnam Style. If you're not old enough for that, then you didn't live the cool internet. You guys, I feel bad for kids these days. You guys remember the internet when it first came out? Do you remember how fun that was? Like you guys can't tell me that internet wasn't more fun when you were like in high school, pretty much. Like when it first came out. At least when I was in high school, but like the comparison of Vine to TikTok, it's like, oh god, just Vine was just so fun. TikTok was fun for a little bit. Yeah, then brands took over. Brands ruin everything. Or the Vine area, graduating college. Like Twitter came out when I was in college. That's how crazy it is. Dial up, yeah, you guys had dial up. Going on some awful forums. Call of Duty before words weren't allowed. Call of Duty used to go crazy. Call of Duty, the people used to say some crazy stuff, man. Or you ever play like Halo XB Connect or like Halo 2? Oh my gosh, dude, it went nuts. AIM. What was your guys' AIM name if you remember? Mine was Soccer Stud 2. Mine was Soccer Stud 2, I think. Let's bring AIM back. Let's bring AIM back. Except it's pretty much just like what? Like a WhatsApp group now? Like StarCraft? Come on. Some people played StarCraft. I was garbage. Absolute garbage. But I still like to play. I love a little reminiscing while we're waiting for some price action to show up here. And also, if you do have questions about a stock, please let me know. Don't be shy. You can say it in the chat. We're just having some fun here. I had a nostalgic moment. And now I'm like reading books again. It's so much fun. I wasn't able to finish the book yesterday. I was too sleepy to retain anything, so I was like, I'm gonna stop. But I did go get a different book, one that's a little more fun. A thriller, if you will. Let's see here. For Tesla, this is technically a reversal signal, and the reversal signal is holding, right? Do you see how the reversal signal is holding? I believe it might have even held on the 15 here. Yeah, it even held on the 15. So this isn't necessarily a good sign. This is like, hey, the 2-hour is crossed. Hey, we can go down to that gap, right? That's what this is really telling you. But you always want to see what contradicts that. So what contradicts the 2-hour being able to get to this gap fill, right? It's as simple as that. If my plan is I'm going to take the 2-hour and the 2-hour is going to go down to here, how could I get screwed in here, right? That makes that trade go wrong and I would need to react. Well, I would just say if this happened, right? I would draw that line like that and say, well, that's how it would go wrong. Maybe I'd even be like, all right, that's my it goes wrong, right? This is if the trade goes right. This is if the trade goes wrong. How can I see if the 2-hour is going to maybe curl up in these areas? Well, a 30-minute would have to curl up first. So if a 30-minute remains by that center line and then curls up into positive territory, my trade would then be going wrong, right? Because we could be seeing another move higher. Then, if it would get to those highs or even fail earlier, I could say, okay, double down on the trade, right? We look for the re-entry if things are going to be right, just not the right timing. But just in case Tesla's going to continue to squeeze, I would seriously have that plan for if it goes wrong. And I think you'd be paying attention to if that goes wrong today. You are once again testing the weekly expected move. So as of right now, it's saying 2-hour pullback is the most likely scenario. A squeeze would not be the most likely scenario. But I would watch out for it. I would seriously watch out for if this 30-minute curls up. So it's holding up and ripping up. SPY shouldn't fall too far from here. You check on NVIDIA. Yeah, we did look at NVIDIA earlier, but you're looking at the RSI divergence and going, okay, can this 2-hour curl up? And if you're someone who has weekly expected moves on Patreon and maybe even daily expected moves, I don't know if they're helping you with this one, but weekly expected move is down in these areas. So you know that some probabilities today. That's the truth. You do know some probabilities because of those moves. You got to them, so it helps you in your thinking a lot more. It kind of tells you at least the risk to reward for this week is available more towards the reward side, but how much time do you have left? Is that good enough for a trade setup? You know, is it good enough for a reason? Or could we just make new weekly expected moves and head lower? That's how you're going. So it's about decision making at the end of the day. And I think the risk is that NVIDIA is going to go up, even if it creates a divergence down first. I think it's going to go up eventually. I think it'll be maybe even back to all-time highs. 30-minute was able to cross down on the VIX. I was watching it. It's a decent confirmation. Looking for a follow through though, because it kind of sat on the 9 there. So I'm gonna give it time. I'm gonna give it some time. Let's see the low here, 564.37. The close, 564.17. So we actually still didn't. We still didn't get there. That is annoying. You might have done it in the SPX. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So you did do it in the SPX. So that is something I would watch for. Yeah, you did it in the SPX. I would say, yeah. Okay. So technically, you could maybe even consider that gap filled, at least in the regular market there. So Core Weave? What is Core Weave? I'm down to look at it though. CRWV? CRWV. No data. How's QQQ? I think QQQ is perfectly fine. Look at that. Daily expected move comes into play for QQQ. Not for the SPY, but for QQQ. It's this cheeky little gap to leave behind. Nice little unfinished business. Hey, we actually see something, another move down. Are we holding the original divergence point? Yes. I think the 2 hour is likely to attempt to curl up here. And I think that's not a crazy thing to say, right? We drew this overall. We said this would be a great level to consolidate at, or this level would be a great level to consolidate at. Either one. As long as we hold up, that's the important part. And we are holding up. I know, you might not think we are, but look, monthly expected move and a daily expected move come into play. The daily expected moves over there in the bottom right of the screen, if you need them for the SPY and the Qs, 490.79 for the Qs, 477.97, and we did go directly to that, right on the monthly, right on the daily. Let's see if that level can hold as support. Very nice. It means 2 hour can potentially curl up here. We'll see if that's able to take place. The reversal signal for volatility is starting to get a little bit more follow through here. So this is confirming as of right now. There are such things as triple tops and things like that, but the SPY could just be basing out right now. We could see some kind of turn to the upside. Oh, new IPO. I don't really pay attention to IPOs too much. I think that it's too hard to call. I think maybe you look at which direction it's initially going and then just try to ride it for a sec, but I just don't think it's good. If you subscribe, all of your dreams will come true. That's not true. I mean, for the most part, this stuff is very informative, but you need to understand if this is information that actually helps your trading. If you're very different from how I look at things, how I do things, make sure that you're understanding things that can actually help your trade. Because if I'm a guy who's holding through all of this, that's going to be a lot different than a guy taking a week out expiration and trying to catch 30-minute moves and things like that. It's going to be very different. So me, I'm kind of saying, hey, I think at any point we could squeeze over the next, like today even. So I'm just going to hold on to my longs, and then if my management comes in, I'll have to manage that trade. But of course, Fabio. Wait, Fabio? Yeah, Fabio. I watched the 15-minute chart, really like it. Yeah, 15 minutes, okay. I mean, a lot of people look at a 15-minute. Mark for Mike. Let's see. My copy of Psychology of Money arrived last night. Excited to check it out, bro. Just take it slow too. It is one of those books that can you can literally read like a page and then stop and think, and then you could read a page and stop and think. Try to critically think while reading it. It's very fun. Try to relate it to your life, your trading, your money management at home, all those things. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. And then you'll see all the parallels to what we talk about here, which is crazy to me. But there are a few things that I'm like, I don't know about this and that, you know? There is a portion where he talks about, like, we shouldn't even have recessions just because things are good. We have good buildings and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but within those buildings, people do bad things. That's why we have recessions. Too much growth too fast. RSP isn't looking hot though. I bought contracts out to Monday because of you, man. You're getting to me. That's all right. Yeah, in the book it does say the portion I got to that I just kind of shook my head. I was like, that's not right. You can't tell me that we should never have recession just because we have buildings and stuff. It's like that's not how it works. But I understand the messaging is like, we have the ability to build back every time, but people freak out in recession. I get it. PCC looks like coming out at 0.90 for right now. We'll see what takes place. Still looking at the SPY, might need to get to that daily expected move downside. I'm here for it, man. IWM filling the gap, coming down to lower levels, still holding the divergence point. Qs, I believe, had it. Yes, they're holding the divergence point. DIA did not have it. DIA did not have it, so that could be a decent sized drop there. Apple does have a reversal signal here at the top, just to be aware of. You know how you squeeze? You fail this reversal signal. That's how Apple continues to see upside. Tesla, able to see support down at that weekly expected move upside. We'd love to see it. Join the Patreon, it'll help you out. Amazon, finally seeing that dip down into the zone to possibly break out. Fantastic. Like the look. Let me see here. Right, this is where I kind of look at stuff and I go, okay, what can I get? What can I grab? Anything good? Amazon app for this. So it actually would be better. Potentially. Okay. Volatility is starting to pick up again, right? It confirmed I wanted to see follow through. We started to get follow through, and then it started to rocket back up. So the 30-minute here, we were starting to get some follow through with that lower bar, get a wick, and now it's still holding above the 9 at this moment. So this would be the first signs of this. So you'd really want to see that follow through and take out these levels, get down to the gap. That didn't happen, so there's always a chance for a little bit more reaction up. Yeah. If it keeps taking back that 9, that's an issue. But the big thing for us is, does it curl up big time frames? Does it curl up a daily? Does it have a signal that curls up a daily? Those are the things we're paying attention to. We don't necessarily see that right now. TLT is popping more, buying on 315 hang. So TLT was down to a critical level, and we pointed out TLT a couple days ago in our video, telling people to watch out in these type of areas. And big reaction to the upside. Very, very nice. This could be people still reaching up for, maybe that is a recession hedge. I don't know, but not a bad sign. People would like if rates go down, right? We kind of want people to celebrate the fact that yields go down. Build back butter. What's back butter? That sounds gross. We were all learning coding from MySpace. I don't even remember what my theme was. I think I made my whole page like Terry Henry themed. Do you see April as being volatile? Not as much. I think if we can finally wiggle off these tariffs for a bit, I think that would be a good thing. Not much. I think you're probably going to see in April 2 dramatic moments. I think there will be 2 moments where people get a little dramatic. That's kind of how I see it. And then I don't think people will be that dramatic at all in May. And then I think May is actually the time we might see that sell in May and go away come in. So we're going to pay attention up here. But I think this upside could last a bit of time, and I think April would be a good overall month, maybe with a little bit of chop, but a couple of dramatic moments where people are like, "Oh God, it's done," and then it just does this, like a wick down in one day or something. Big back butter. Ew, 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 Noah. Now I just said, oh. Who are your 3 favorite soccer players? Thierry Henry, Edgar Davids, and oh, who the hell else did I used to watch? See, that's the thing. I switched off too many times. Who's someone I really enjoyed watching? Actually, it might be Modric. I think Modric is like, I don't know if he's one of my top 3 favorites, but I definitely watched Modric a lot because I thought he was so interesting. Modric is the player that convinced me, well, and players like Modric convinced me be good with your left foot, like even if I'm right-footed. And so I was the kid at 6 years old who was good with his left foot. So I think those would be the three that I really followed. Edgar Davids is my boy. I don't really follow the new guys. I don't know. I don't like the if you notice, I don't really like the super egotistical, strikers or something like that. That's not really what I like. And you can tell me that Thierry Henry was egotistical, but did you know he wasn't even a forward until he joined Arsenal at all? He was a left back. That's what I think was so cool. And I started at left back and then moved to winger. So no news on Wolf. It was a CEO thing. You're not a Ronaldo fan? If I had to watch Ronaldo or Messi, if I had to learn from someone, I would learn from Ronaldo because that's the play style that I had. If I wanted to watch, like, if I had to watch a player out of the two of them and be more, which one would be more entertaining? It's going to be Messi. Shanky, thank you so much for subscribing today. I think Messi's more entertaining to watch. I think Ronaldo has like flash moments. It's kind of like, yeah, I think that's how I'd put it. I did not see any Pele movie. Oh, here's the crazy part. So if I didn't get injured and I actually got picked up by NYCFC, the next week I would have got to practice with Pirlo. I would have got to practice. Like, that still makes me sad to this day. I had to watch one of my teammates who I was supposed to go with. Me and him were the top two, and we were supposed to go play and train with them like a week later. And then my shoulder dislocated for 6 hours. Awesome, Shanky. I'm glad you're here. If there's anything you can look at, if there's anything we can look for you. Yeah, I would have got to play with Pirlo. That would have been insane. Pirlo is a guy I looked up to because I was a center mid in high school, actually, for like my high school because we didn't have good center mids. It was sad. I literally was. I'll admit to you guys, that's a moment in my life I cried a lot. All right, man to man, that made me very sad. I shaved my head. I had a Britney Spears moment. I was like, I'm shaving my head. I still deal with shoulder problems to this day because it was out for 6 freaking hours. Anyway, look at that. We're coming down. Finally did it. Okay, so now we're coming down. I mean, the ultimate assessment is, hey, let's get to that line. Let's see what happens from there. Yesterday on Wolf, and it did not affect the stock. Oh, okay. I don't know. It's Wolf, man. That's either a very long-term play or I'm gonna try to catch a short squeeze at some point play. Is SPY filling the gap? Yeah, just did. 564.17, 564.10. So you did fill just there. Still watching volatility, seeing that little turn up. See how it goes right back to green? We don't like to see that. That's why I wanted to see follow through. We didn't get it. That's why I was like, hey, hesitance on this bar. It's not the best confirmation in the world. XYZ. It's a deep 2-hour pullback. Deep. No signs of reversal. Daily looks like it could cross down. I mean, this could V-shape in some sort. If you have like a weekly or a monthly expected move, you're retesting breakout area on this. So you're retesting the breakout area, which is just great. This is your breakout area. 5650 is like your breakout area to a T. And you're there right now. The only problem is the 2 hours oversold. The 30-minute doesn't show you any kind of hint here besides the RSI just doing what the RSI does. A lot of the time you want to pay attention to if this actually tapered off in some way. It's not the most dramatic thing we're seeing. It's very controlled down. But that being said, you might have some little things in here to say, yeah, we could catch a bounce. But I just would be very cautious with this one. If it starts to V-shape, it starts to V-shape. So ultimately, if I want this thing to go positive again, maybe you're looking for a strong closing bar above the 9 coming down. Like this comes down, maybe you go up, you reject off, and then you see it taken back, and then you can be above that and then start to use that to head higher, that and the 5-day moving average. So this one could have some time in it. It can V-shape, though. I don't want to make you like not paying attention to it. So daily chart curls up. You're looking like maybe a massive form of volatility to end up seeing something good. But you got to see something good or else you're going to be very flaggy. So unfortunately, I wish it was a little bit better so I could go more into it, but I think that's the main parts there. What am I supposed to be looking at over here for volatility? All right, volatility, daily scale starting to turn a little bit here. I might even have to go into a 15 for a second over here just to monitor a little tighter. Make sure we're holding divergences on the 15. Okay. Richard, 99.99. Guess who's back? Back again. Richard, I'm so proud of you, man. I can't even. But thank you so much for the 99.99. Richard always making the bright and sunshiny Friday for us over here in the community, putting it towards good stuff. But thank you so much, Richard. And I'm glad that life's turning to the upside for you. Stayed in that positive trend. That's the big thing, right, buddy? Love it. Thank you. Everyone shout out Richard in the chat. And we're going to be live over on Rumble, and hopefully Richard has the time to join us while he's making all of this money. Oh gosh, and you're getting Taw into it. Richard, you just made Taw like have to go to the bathroom real quick because you just put 9999. 9999. Oh my goodness. Taw's gonna lose his mind. There's that back butter. Oh my goodness. Richard, super proud of you, man. Super proud of you, man. I think that's fan-freaking-tastic. Look how quick you did that, man. Look how quick. God. Yeah, you know, one of my best feelings is when, you know, a lot of people have this problem, I think, of like when your friend does something good or someone close to you does something good, you almost feel like envy or something. Like, I just feel so excited when someone does something that I see as good. So, Richard, congratulations and thank you. You shall see I got a few meetings. I know that's why I did it. Oh, Richard, you're great. I can't wait to be Richard. Maybe one day. I can't wait to be Richard, but Richard's my dad's name, so I'm pretty much Richard already. I'm the most like my dad, and his name's Richard, guys. But both my mom and my dad go by their middle names. Very interesting. Wonder why they chose that. My dad probably just didn't want to get called Dick. Good stuff so far. Just waiting out this morning, seeing if people will position for some dramatic downside now. We do see the PCC flashing over 2.96. It would be very interesting to get down to these levels and kind of just sit here for a long time and then see a reaction up kind of midday. Be very interesting. Yeah, it's a little slow. You're getting that gap and that kind of gradual move down, which just tells you there's not a bunch happening probably. Yeah, see the volume, even compared to the previous bar. Damn, I'm just spamming the chat. Hey, that's all right. Spam away. Spam away, big dog. All right, we got data in a couple of minutes here. Making sure everything's set up and ready to go. Gucci. Looks Gucci. All right. Things look good to go. I'm going to have data up on the other screen so we can read into it a little bit. Bad data would be very bad right now. I will tell you that. Bad data right now would potentially cause management of the trade unless we see a wick up. So I got to be very patient with it, but bad data would not be a good thing here. Bad data could shoot you down to 550, I think, pretty quick. I think that would be like, okay, we're going to go down to 550 maybe even today and see a flash sell. Oh, look at that. We go to the daily expected move. Let's see what happens with this guy. The volatility index, or VIX, is actually just showing us still the same signal. So we'll pay attention to it. A little bit of greens coming in. All right, let's end the poll. You're not able to update that thing. So we had 106 votes. Looks like we're going to end that. We're going to see what happens here in the chat. Let's read that off. Looks like 51% say green, 48% say red. So a little bit of a split here, which actually kind of makes sense. We've been kind of in that neutral stance for the CPC for a little while. We're actually neutral right now with 0.88. 0.95 coming out the gate here for PCC this morning. I'm going to go check over on to see if that data was increased. We see that Michigan consumer sentiment final came in expected to be about 58 or 57.9. We see that it came in at 57. So it's supposed to come in at 57.9, 57.9. Hey, comes in at 57. So it is a drop down. We will see how people react to that data. But over 50, still a pretty damn good thing. 57, not too dramatic, right? This, if we went from 64.7 to 57.9, that would be dramatic. This is actually pretty close. So I don't think that's too bad, but we'll see how the price action goes from here. Looks like we are still seeing some downside at the moment. I know, Tony. How dare they? How dare they, Tony? Shame, shame, shame for not liking the video. Just kidding. You can like the video, you can not like the video. Liking the video really helps the channel out, though, guys. So I would appreciate it. But I understand they're your fingers, and you need them now. So it's okay if you can't click that button now. Maybe click it in like 5 minutes when you get a little coffee break. I know, Jonathan. That's because you're one of the good ones. And you wear cool white shirts or polos and have a great beard. That's why. Okay? Why does Toronto like the videos? Have you seen that sick hoodie he's been wearing? Pretty dope. Why does Tall like the videos? 9. That's it. Nothing else to it. Willow, see, here's the thing. You know why Willow doesn't like the videos? Because he knows that he's pretty much opposite day in human form. So by him not liking the video, it encourages other people to like the video. He actually dislikes the videos. He dislikes the videos. He's like, this video sucks. Because that's how Willow rolls. SPY will keep going down. If it gets a little bit more dramatic. But this is actually where you have a 68% chance to hold above. Missed a win. Right here, 562.93. Now, we already looked at those levels that say 560 could be important. So going down to here would not surprise me either. I might just leave a little line down there to remind ourselves that that's there. If you wanted to do it this way for the analysis for the day, we would go, okay, 565, right? We would go 560. Actually, let's do a box. Why am I drawing shit? We would go like this and go like 565. If I could tag it close enough. And then you would go 560. And we would potentially put the end of the day right here. So pretty much there is where we're looking for some stuff. This is technically a green. Let's make it green, right? This is where we're paying attention. Yeah, let's look at inflation expectation, actually. Maybe we're a little hasty there. Inflation expectation is supposed to be higher. I mean, does that... Hold on. Inflation expectations used as compiled by the user rose for the 4th month in March 2025. CBS is $3 Interesting. That's kind of a high reading, isn't it? That is kind of high. We'll see how that comes out. Or wait, mine hasn't refreshed yet. That's why I'm not seeing it. There we go. Okay, so it did come out at 5%. That was weird. Conditions final. Consumer expectations final. Expectations really fell off there. Inflation expectation beat 4.9 from 4.3. That's wild. But I think you're seeing the tariff thing get priced in there then. Because it will cause inflation to spike for a moment. It should. It should be a short-term inflationary spike. Do we have any divergences? Tell us when we're going up. Yeah, volatility would be a great one to still watch, right? It's just not going in that direction just yet, right? So what I'm doing over here is just looking at a 15 minutes, seeing if this little lip comes in, kind of like we created right here, seeing if a moment like that happens. This is the signal I'd be watching, though, the 30-minute here, see if that thing can actually confirm down strong, get a follow-through, and then eventually see this 2-hour cross down, and guess what? The SPY is probably heading up by then, right? So we have that, and we also see divergence still from the point here, right? We're still holding the original point. 2 right now. So if we can get a bounce from here, that would be a good thing. And this is the exact area we wanted to be watching. Just gonna get your take on MRVL. Oh my gosh, I always do that with my mouse. It really bugs me. Let's see. There's not a lot to go off of besides probably look at a daily chart, look for a double bottom. Maybe a 4-hour would spread that out for you. Yeah, so I think pretty simply, if this is going to turn around, it's going to need the 4-hour to flip back up. If you have monthly or weekly expected moves, maybe make those for next, like on Monday next week. But this one here, there's not a ton to go off of besides like, hey, if I see a 4-hour divergence, I might be able to catch something here. But this could easily be breaking down deeper and deeper. I think it's in a great area to see some bouncing, but we see how it can go lower. We see how it can go lower. So this is where you really got to look at it from probably an investment perspective and say, hey, if I was willing to buy it here, am I willing to buy it cheaper here? Am I going to scale in at lower levels? What am I going to do? But this 4-hour divergence is something I would keep my eye on. Maybe see if it shows up on a daily chart, and that's about it. That's all the analysis you can really look for there. That needs some time. If for an option play especially, that's going to need some time. Absorb by 1030. Yeah, laws. I wish there was a little bit more to it. Okay. Okay. Yes, fill the gap, Amazon. Fill it. Fill it. Fill it, Amazon. Just do it. All right. Come on, Amazon. Fill the gap. I was going to look at a daily expected move for Amazon as well. Oh no, that's weekly. That's monthly. That would be very not correct. On 196.17, 197.44. Perfect. That's what we like to see, Abby. Let's see. Maybe something crazy to the downside starts to happen. Percentages would say. But our daily expected move says. What the heck was I just doing? Oh, that's right. I have to look at this chart. Oh man. Oh, get bearish. Yeah. Okay. I think we might. I'm hesitant to say it, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it. So we're gonna wait and see if this thing can turn back up by the end of the day. That's what I'll say. It's a good thing we're doing a closing stream later because I think later today could get very interesting. Muy interesante. And then people in my chat speak Spanish, and I'm like, I don't actually know Spanish. Should have stayed in the Keys instead of rushing home to trade. Bro, I'd be at the Keys all day. I'd be at the Keys doing friggin' screw all. I'd just be like, all right, cool, it's down to these levels. If I take calls, probably right in like 2 months. Like that's it. And then I'd be chilling on the beach, hanging. I'd make it real simple so I can just sip and do whatever. What is it? Oh yeah, QBTS. D-Way. Oh, what the frick? 2-hour really turning down again. Daily scale was able to cross, so yeah, this could be a vomit kind of moment. You need that thing to save itself today, or else you're at serious risk now of getting down to, shoot, you might get down to $5. Yeah, $5 looks like the area, and you could head down to like, where's this? 380. So yeah, but the volume's really, really low on the way down, so I'd still be looking for any time that can whip back up, but you don't have any signals for QBTS to really give you a hint. That's why I'm not pulling it over, right? If I saw hints for you, I would pull it over. I don't really see many besides like, you know, look for maybe some support levels, look for gap fills and things like that. Turning to the upside with the volatility. It's getting crazy. People are buying those bearish bets. We're going to maybe shoot down to even 550. That would just be crazy. Lucas, no way. No way. So I got to move to Florida, Luke. I almost did, Paul. I was on my way to move there, and then we got, pregnant. So I was on my way to move there. But I'm kind of glad I didn't because, that big hurricane hit. That's just what, I'm sure you Florida people are like, yeah, it's just a hurricane. It's like tornadoes for us in the Midwest. People are like, oh my God, a tornado. My mother-in-law, oh my God, tornadoes, we're going to get ripped apart. I just casually went over there and I was like, oh yeah, we got tornado warnings for tonight. And it was like Baghdad. I was like, oh I was like, I forgot. These people don't deal with that. I think it's the same thing for Florida probably. Now, some of those hurricanes though, I feel for you guys. I think they are crazy, man. That's that 1%, right? That's that 1% that you can actually see coming because we can kind of we can sometimes see it coming. Hurricane parties. Yo, tornado parties are dope. You just go into the basement. Then you play spinny bat or whatever it is to be like, a good time. What's that called? Where you like put beer in a bat and you spin around 3 times, chug the beer, spin around 3 times, and then you have to swing and hit a baseball. I don't know. That's what I did in college. I don't know about you guys. Can you check out Hims? Yeah, we can pop over to Hims real quick. Let me just keep an eye on the SPY over here, though. All right, we are dropping to lower levels for Hims. Hims not able to really hold any kind of signal here. Hims dropping on the 2-hour. Daily divergence is formed, but I would probably stretch that out to a 4-hour and say, man, this thing's got to turn up on the 4-hour in V shape. Yeah, there's nothing, there's not a ton to go off of here. It's just seeing a dramatic drop. Risk to reward might be the thing to think about with that one. Investment still might be the thing to think about. As it was at almost $80, 75. Ooh, and is retesting the breakout. Going down to its 200 on the daily. I don't know. I think I would look at this from an investment perspective and look at the 4-hour chart. Like a medium-term investment. VIX go. Yeah, that's people making the bearish bets. That is the bearish bets showing up. But trust me. Trust me, you want to be making sure if your management of the trade is coming in that you're managing trades, right? If that's what has to happen here, that's the plan. The plan for if it goes wrong, awesome. My plan for if it goes wrong, I'm giving him more margin for error there, so I have a little bit of time today before I have to do anything. I can tell you this, though. We're outside of a lot of daily expected moves during retail hour. So they really want retail not to see a big gap down and then just swing it back up. No, they want retail to see this and probably take bearish bets. And that's why you saw me scroll up and go, oh, PCC 1.1 now. Perfect. I don't want to manage. Hey, that's up to you, right? How long out are the contracts and that kind of thing? How confident are you? And then you have to assume that risk. That's what I'm doing. I'm assuming the risk too. I just haven't seen the confirmations I need to manage. And even if they do, I'm thinking about just scaling. Truly. I know. Wild. Don't have to manage anything yet. Nothing yet. My plan allows for some flexibility. It allows me to say, okay, it's up to me. It's up to my gut at the moment. Hey, do you want to scale in or do you want to manage this thing? Do you really think it's going to bounce down at those lower levels? Or do you think it could whip back up from here? All right, then you assume that risk. And if you're wrong, hey, you might be real wrong. That's a scary way to manage risk. Did you just assume my risk gender? How dare you? Frickin' Mark for Mike. VVIX, what the heck is that though? Volatility of volatility with a nothing burger. The VIX 9-day with a nothing burger. Are people... Okay, so people a little bit longer out are freaking out. I think that's what it tells you. That's kind of weird. Anybody see this? Who gave me VIX 9-day? How do you read into this? Are you months out? I'm 5 weeks out from today. I remember just 5 weeks. Like, I think it's the first week in May. I have an option up right now that I'm looking into, so I have to watch that for a bit. Minus 214, realized loss so far. Let's go. Need to lose to offset the taxes. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. VIX 9-day, though, not a big curl up. Very interesting. VVIX, not a big move up. Just VIX. That's kind of crazy. Are people just reading into... Is this an overreaction is what I'm getting at here. Is this an overreaction? I'm still going to be hesitant with it. Yeah, try opening up the time frames. Bernie, it might be a slower game. You won't have to watch a lot of the in-between. You're just, writing down those key things where it could go wrong. So what things, Bernie, am I paying attention to for my trade? I'm actually looking for forms of 30-minute divergence that lead to a reversal down, or a 2-hour divergence especially that leads to a reversal down, or if my management of the trade has to come in, and I made that a 4-hour chart. I assumed a little bit more margin for error there and assumed more risk. Not necessarily more risk, just like I'm willing to go through more bad things right now because I think a good thing is at the end of the tunnel. Right? If I think with that mentality and I have my ways that say, hey, this is where I'm uncomfortable to hold on to it, that's what I did with this overall trade. Yeah, this overall position choosing. Spreading out the time allows you to do that. That way I just don't have to spend my time like freaking out because the market goes up and down so fast these days. VIX really dropping off there. Let's look through some of these guys. Apple starting to confirm that a 2-hour pullback could be coming. Tesla still trying to use that weekly upside move. Amazon going directly into the monthly expected move. Nvidia making the reversal signal here. Maybe even going to fill that gap soon, but this would be an area I would want to bounce. AMD, not so much. Meta, complete vomit here. That's going to be a big problem. So we're hoping for that spike up in buying soon. Never want to be hoping for that, right? We want to just see the price action prove. Told you short in the top of the channel was just fine. Hey, I appreciate it. That's good. See, you're trading differently than me. It's working out. I like it. I like to see the wins, Ben. People do forget that we left a gap behind. Google down to a weekly expected move, right? Google, I really have to say, at the low, Google looks like potential for opportunity to me. The 2 hours crossing down, if we can just cross up in the next trading session, I'd be very happy with Google. AMC continuing to break down. GME seeing that support at the weekly expected move, but getting rejected off of the monthly. SoFi is now outside of a weekly and monthly expected move. It now has a 68% chance to be above that price by Monday close. By Monday close. Palantir approaching the weekly. GLD actually seeing that big reaction up. So now you have a big chance for GLD to actually drop down to lower levels as well. This is where the signal actually really has something to back it, but that could still take a long time to get back below 570 or 575. Yeah, it needs to bounce. You are correct to point out. You are in a very risky spot now where something crazy is happening, right? Something crazy is happening. You're going to the absolute, I would say, low of the area that we would like to be in. So if we start to close below here, I start to lose some confidence. but I still have to pay attention and be like, has my management of the trade triggered? Right? That's going to be the big deal. It hasn't yet, right? It would trigger today. By the end of the day, it would trigger if we keep heading down. But we'll see. A lot of people are quick to go to that bear side still. They're still remembering this stuff. They're still remembering this stuff. They're still remembering how choppy it is and how volatile it is. So we'll see. This is where we really start to pay attention. JP Morgan went back below the monthly. Yeah, but it was outside of a weekly, so the percentages for the week were kind of leaning towards that, and you have Monday for that to prove. And it's very close, right? It's still not crazy that it's landing very close. It's actually crazy that I was able to build back. That's the play that I could have even made money on, even if I just held through the loss for a bit. VIX broke the 50. Yeah, VIX is showing that good strength. Good strength. Daily scale starting to see some big upside here. So you would really want a wick to come in at potentially 2118. You want a big wick to come in before you get past 2118, in my opinion. I haven't looked at Bitcoin today, but Bitcoin dropping off pretty good here. Just want to see if the daily is crossing. No cross for the daily. Going down to that trend pretty much again. That's kind of wild. 2 hour pretty overdone. 4 hours still within positive range, so that's okay. Look at mags overall. We can see how we'd make a quick divergence. That's fine with me. Actually, I'll show you guys something. You know, this stuff does happen though, so that's why I want us to be aware if this just moves back to the upside, right? We see this stuff happen all the time, right? Very volatile move down. Hey, it actually based out, gave you a base out signal there, so that's good. But we see wicks down like this all the damn time at these lows. Right here, you see this, boom, boom. Ah, big move down. So boom, boom, big move down, slingshot. Just looking at mags for a sec there. Wish this thing would auto adjust to what I had it at previously when I pull it over. That would be very nice. I'm just sitting, waiting, wishing. Okay, I need to some food, stop loss set. Trades are not in my hands anymore. See you guys later. Steve, enjoy some food for us. All right, I need to go get some food. Luke Hungy. I don't like the 30-minute look. I don't like the 30-minute look either. But I'm not going to short at the volume, at the potential to make it a 1.13, right? I'm not going to short at this low. The percentages for the day and the percentages for the month would suggest that that would go against my thinking. I'd go against my percentages. If it's right, then that would make money, right? But as of right now, I'm not eager to short anything when I think a short squeeze could come at pretty much any moment. Nope, I am holding on to it. I have orders up to potentially buy a bit more if we see these things bounce back up. Because Amazon's pretty much at its monthly expected move again. So I think that's an area where I could potentially reload. We'll see. Oh my goodness. My diversions kind of got wiped out. What if it doesn't come up? Then I'll manage the trade on my 4 hour. That's my trigger, right? Lower than this. Yeah, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently. I like milk. Trying to do things where I assume that I can take more hits for the short term, but in the longer term or medium term, I'll be right at some point. So trying to see if it'll work. Don't think we're trading the same, right, guys? That's actually a chapter in the book, you know? People don't trade the same. We're getting creamed. Tesla's expected move is over on Patreon, but Tesla, you probably want that to If it's going to drop further, you'd probably say the gap fill would be on the table. 2 hour is crossed, right? So this is saying, hey, 250, 248, very likely for a test. So it's saying very likely. And the SPY's drop now. What if Tesla started dropping, everything else kept dropping, and then we went down to 550? People aren't buying the dip, they're shorting the dip. At least more people are shorting the dip than buying the dip, according to at least options, the PCC. I'm sure there's stops here too. Well, I'm looking if they sweep the lows here at 558, but 560 is supposed to be the bottom of our little zone here. So 560 should be important, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen and then we start to wick up. But we'll see. There we go. We're breaking it now. I'm assuming all the stops are here. I don't think that all the stops would be down here. I think people would have seen this and moved those stops up, right? They would have gone, okay, move up the stop. I want to see if we sweep that low. And then I'm aware how it breaks down. How it's more likely to break down if it's going to hold structure is that. Squeeze out the people shorting it. Let's see. Let's see if like stock market crash is starting to trend or something. Let's see. Let's go to Google Trends. Look at that. Stock market crash has been spiking. Absolutely spiking. I need more time on this. Past 30 days. Spiked on March 11th. Right here. March 11th is when Google Trends spiked on everyone's searching for stock market crash. Now it's just hovering. It's hovering. It's hovering. But it is at elevated levels. Hovering, hovering, hovering. You actually had weirdly enough, you had a divergence with pretty much the market on March 11th with the Google Trends. So that's funny. Alrighty, get bearish. More bear bets, more bear bets, more bear bets, more bear bets, more fuel. Give me more fuel for this overall corrective looking move. We'll see if it proves to be corrective if we head down to 550, but crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh my gosh, sorry, I was watching something funny for a second, my bad. I don't know how controlled it would really be. Just doesn't seem like any buys. It looks very algorithmic. There's not one green anything on this 5 minute. Look when you come down here, You get those little bits of green, bits of green, bits of green, right? Even here, that didn't last that long. You got the green, you got green. This is just flush, all just straight down. So buyers haven't shown up yet. That's what it seems to be, which also you're in retail hour right now. So retail could just be offloading their stuff right before something good happens, right? I still think you have a chance to sweep that low. It'll happen if we break the low. Well, that's if we don't make a divergence there. Still can. We'll get a new updated monthly move like in a couple of days. So no green today. You missed a huge move. You really do suck. I like it. I did not play the downside move, no. Well, that's not good. If your trading's making you feel that way ever, that's not a good thing. Don't do that. Flush them out, flush them out, flush them out, flush them out. All right, volatility, you're getting to that level, that 2118. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I took the risk off here. Here's the thing. I took the risk off here, right? Sold everything, saw this, and then once I started to see this, I start to just get back in, right? But I have been prepared for a while that if we see a dip down and see that curl back up, to potentially purchase again, right? I just have longer outdated options, but this doesn't surprise me at all, right? We've been talking about this gap fill all week. I just thought a good trick would be, hey, make this little reversal in here and go. So I can scale in here. I can get out if we really start to cross down to these levels. I can take a loss. I can get down to here, see if we create something to go up. I'm pretty comfortable, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't really care that this is going down. I actually like the fact that it's going down. What puts would I be considering? None of them. Zero. I would not ever buy a short position right here for the SPY or for anything else. Like, look at these things. They're dropping down dramatic. You think I'm going to short IWM at a low? So it's not really a valid thing. Yeah, Dane. So if I'm considering shorting at a low, then I wasn't doing my analysis here. Now here I did my analysis and stopped doing the longs at this point. But I wasn't confident enough to say, oh, this can't squeeze. I was more confident to say, yeah, the probabilities lean towards a 30-minute pullback. Guess what? It's more than a 30-minute pullback, which means what? It's a 2-hour one. The 2-hour is still right by that center line. We filled the gap that we talked about. We always talked about sweeping this, maybe even coming all the way down to here. So I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm totally prepared for all of it, right? It's not going the way I want right now with the plays that I decided to start buying in here, right? It's not going the way I want right now, but I don't think it's as bad as it seems. Nothing is ever as bad or as good as it seems. And I don't think this is as bad as it seems. But I have a long way to say that, right? I would say this doesn't look as bad as it seems, right? Then if we get a bounce and we fail that, then I'll say, okay, now it's probably looking as bad as it seems, right? The volatility index curls up on a daily. Yeah, we'll treat that like it's bad. But I just think this is an overreaction. I could be wrong. But I also know those CTAs are itching to get into something, and cheaper prices would be a good thing for them. I also think that they don't want people knowing about any kind of squeeze that could come, so they probably want to get you bearish on the Friday right before it happens. It's happening. We'll see. Sweep the low, and let's see. It's an overreaction. It's going to hurt my options, but that's why I have so much time. So then I don't have to sit there and freak out and look for the next level and look for the next level and scale in, scale in, scale in. I just go, I'm confident with my play. I like the price I got for the contracts, and I have plenty of time to watch it happen. And I can monitor it in between to make sure I don't need to manage a trade early on here. And that's it. Exactly, GKL. They're just waiting for April 2nd, I think. And if it's as easy as buy on April 2nd, I think it won't be as easy as that. And I think they're going to show a downside move. We're going to start to see upside, maybe get a pullback on Tuesday, and then we're going to be done and see that April 2nd or CTAs come in on April 2nd. Let's go look. Just an equal move now from the high to the low. That's an equal move. It's like an equal ABC. Sweep that low, and then we'll see what happens. What's with gold? Gold is now outside of a weekly expected move and outside of a monthly expected move. Going to get updated monthly expected moves. It is very likely to go down to a weekly expected move, potentially even next week or the week after that. So I think gold will go down to something like 275 to 270 at least in the next few weeks. See if it's proven that thing's a monster. It could go to 3,600 in the futures, though. So you got to make sure it's not going wrong on you, right? Anything can happen in the market. Yeah, looking at GLD or something like that. Looking at GLD, you're just going, okay, it might want to fill this. It might want to actually see this daily, curl down. It never confirms. So once this confirms, you're more so, and look at the divergence still holding on the RSI right here. I think this is going to be a top for gold. Potentially over the next week, I would say. You're going to top out, and you're probably going to go all the way back down to the breakout area towards 270. I think that's the safe way to look at this for now. What that would do is at least get the daily by the center line, and then from that point forward, you could say, okay, there can be another curl up. So I'll be watching for structure and weekly expected moves and all that. So if you want to join the Patreon, we give weekly expected moves for GLD, and it's actually at one of those levels right now. So it would be useful for you to see it over on Patreon right now for GLD. Yeah, they made their updated targets at the easiest time to make an updated target. I would say that. It's like, yeah, okay, gold sees another upward move, then they publish everything. Or it sees it holds at the upside for a while, curls up on a 2-hour, then they publish it. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, cool. It's very easy to point out something good while it's good. It's very hard to point out something that will be bad when it looks good. And that's why, potentially people don't even probably like these videos, because half the time I'm saying, yeah, I think this is the opposite. Right? People want me to go, oh my God, this is hell. We're going to crash. The absolute crash is happening now. I can get tons of views that way. I don't choose to do that. I choose to talk about how I actually look into markets for my own money-making purposes. And I go, I think this is an overreaction. And I think we're going to end up, maybe even by the end of April, we're up towards 600, and people are just going to be like, oh, well, looking back at this was a blip. I wish I got in, is what I think will be said. Even if we go down to 550, I think eventually people will be saying in the next month, man, I wish I got in at 550. Man, I wish I got in at 575. So contrarian indicator for Goldman. Yeah. And once the banks start to give you that big stuff, that's just how it is. Go look in history. Literally, you can find all the times that big publishers were publishing back before the Great Depression. Literally 2 months before they posted before the Great Depression started, and we saw huge drops. Right, 2 months before that, all the big newspapers that everyone read, all the business ones, all the stock ones, all the main ones, every single one was saying that the market is in an absolute roar and we're about to see insane price action, and then it crashed. So What do? I look for, hey, is everyone freaking out today? Okay, if they're freaking out, they're not paying attention to that, the fact that this can happen. So the fact that this can happen is probably cheap. And then if I see that by the end of the day with a 68% chance, hey, that's fantastic. That's a good trade, right? At the end of the day, it could just be decision making. I look for confirmations and things like that, but part of me also at times I'll just get into moves at key levels if I'm pretty confident, and then I'll have a management of risk. Yep, I'm watching Amazon over here too. Yeah, Amazon at the monthly able to fill the gap. It does not look pretty, but that 2 hour, hey, where is it? Well, it's right at that center line, so we're chilling on that for a bit. Actually, it's not even right at the center line. it's still above it. If we break the lows, will we be entering a bear market? Not necessarily. No, you'd break the low and people would say we are in a bear market, and then they could be totally off guard. I still think there's one upward move left. If there's not, I'm going to see this daily chart cross down and I won't be in calls. And if it's not going to do this or this, cut it a little bit and do that, well, then it's probably just going to do this, and I'll never see that daily be able to curl back up. But if that daily is able to curl back up, then guess where that's pointing? Upward direction. So we're going to go to a topside monthly expected move with a signal that good. We're going to a topside monthly expected move. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I just think this is an overreaction. I think we've done great stuff down here to hold this base. So yeah, I'll pay more attention once we lose this. Once we lose this, I will be paying attention. I won't be in calls. But once I see that reaction, I see that momentum turn up, then that'll prove to me it's all a trick. And then I can be in. I'm fine with taking a loss. I'm perfectly comfortable because I know how much money you can make in a squeeze. We did it like 4 different times in 2024. So I think I only missed one. And they weren't big mega squeezes like I think we're going to get now. I don't think we really got that last year as much. We did get some key moments like August. So the Nvidia trades were good. I don't know if I've heard of knockout options. What's knockout options? How fast is a mega squeeze? You always want to assume it's slower than you think. Whatever you're thinking, slow it down, and then whatever you're deciding to potentially buy with an expiration, add a week to it. So if I think a move is going to happen in 2 weeks, I'm going to say, okay, slow it down. Okay, 3 weeks. All right, whatever I decided on 3 weeks, okay, now I'm going 4. So what did I say? I said I'm moving everything to 4 weeks. I'm going to add to that and do 5 weeks. I think in the next 5 weeks we could see big upside. I don't know how high, I don't know how low. That's going to be dictated as it goes up. It can change a lot, but my assessment is we could get to 585 or 600 by the end of April. Yeah, by the end of April, early May. Oh, okay. I kind of get it, I think. Crush Market said he is making US great. Trump did not cause people to sell their stocks. Trump did not put his finger on the button. They made a decision. That's it. The market the market could be totally wrong about tariffs at the end of it all, but it's something to worry about, right? The negative thing. But here's the thing. Germany, England, Europe, all of these countries have way worse tariffs than us. So if tariffs are so bad, then why does every other country have it? That is a simple way to just know maybe people are freaking out a little bit too much and they haven't seen enough, or they just don't understand what's going on, so they're freaking out. Like, at the end of the day, people are complaining about car tariffs from the US while tariffing the US at an extremely high rate. So you can't tell me you don't see the hypocrisy and how their economy is absolute trash. Is the DAX crashing right now? Is the DAX down for years and years and years because they've been tariffing the US? No. So, like, I don't get how tariffs will cause a crash. That's just not a thing. You would have to seriously fuck up the tariffs. I would say that. We're not rich. We're in debt. There's a difference. We seem rich. I can tell you that the average American is not rich. Well, they actually are very rich if you look at the perspective of the world. Yes, you are very rich. But people here think TVs and TVs and cell phones and things like that are necessities when they're not. So that's the big richness there. I'll stay for another about 20 minutes or so, Richard. Thanks, maggots. You're welcome. Tell me one US car which can compete with a German car. Tell me one US car which can compete with a German car. Oh, I don't care about cars. I don't care about cars. I really don't, guys. I'm just talking about the tariff. I do not give a shit about the car. I don't give a shit about quality of car. I don't, yeah, I'm not someone that says that. Like, good price, stability. All right, cool. The big pocket traders are putting the fear in the minds of retails. They're just bringing the price to where they will pick it up in the market at a relatively cheap price, while retail is out of money. Yeah, the point isn't to say, like, I know probably some people's buttholes are on fire right now because we said that tariffs are a good thing, and I know orange guy bad and orange guy doing things, but that's not even what we're talking about. Your emotions are clouding what we're actually talking about in the conversation. We're letting you know that tariffs are everywhere, and if they really cause bad economies, then everywhere would have a bad economy. We don't. We don't see that, and that's it. That's why I think this is overblown. Like you're not reading into the actual conversation of what you can like learn about. You're just clouded if you're thinking about Orange Man bad while we're talking about the tariffs that he's implementing affecting the market, then you probably have a problem. Seriously. Exactly. And the big thing with it is the production side, right? People don't talk about the production and manufacturing. I think that tariffs would not be a good thing if production and manufacturing does not pick up in the US. That's a very simple way to look at it. Very simple way to look at it is, well, if we're tariffing everything from the outside and they're tariffing us and we're just getting prices increased on everything because we're not producing anything, if anything, manufacturing should grow to an extent in every country to where you can just trade everything back to back and it's 0 to 0 and there's no tariff anywhere. But certain countries are better at making other things, like the person who pointed out the German car, right? Future House, you pointed out the German car thing, right? It's like, that's exactly probably correct. You know, people will do things better than others, and that's why, you know, tariffs can be a thing. Oh, it hurts, JKL. So I'm really stalling out. I really want to buy a really nice PC, but I'm still using my two heavy duty laptops for now. But lower than wages so you can compete. Yeah. I mean, I get lower wages do come into it, but I think we should pay people what they're worth and really dictate what things are worth. But it's kind of hard to do. The market has to kind of decide that. What stocks do you think will carry the market on the bounce? I think Tesla will be a big one. Mag 7, I think, will be big. I think semiconductors might see a good move. But the thing is, we'll be worried about the upward move if semiconductors do not produce positivity. But I think your Amazons, your Metas, I would even say Tesla, I think those three would be very good. I think Google down here and Microsoft don't have like the worst thing ever if they can actually catch bounces from these levels. I think a lot of these big boys, The other thing is, though, we do have these shorter term ones. We have these little guys over here. We have some of these guys that could show great promise. So don't sleep on the little guys, too. You know, AVGO could start to get involved. That's been going down for a long time. Daily divergence potentially there now. Look at that guy. Let's see if it's on the RSI. It's on the RSI. So AVGO could literally be like back to, I would even say AVGO can get to 229. I mean, I don't think in the next month. I think it'll take more time than that. You know, you got to get through 250. But I think we could look back on this in like 3 months and see AVGO at 226. I genuinely think that. Do I think it's going to hold there, or do I think it's going to fall? I think that's up for discussion later on with more price action. Yeah, GCal, and I think you're going to go through a period where on April 2nd, they're going to start to use 1 or 2 narratives to just be like, ignore the data and keep squeezing type thing. It's not QE. It's not QE. I think that's why Jim's calling you out. Reducing QT is not QE. AMD broke their downward channel, but dropping ever since the breakout. It's close to falling back into the channel. Thoughts on Wolf? Hey, bad move. Someone sold a lot. If I had researched into the company for a year and really looked at it and had a price that I liked, and then it dropped below that, I'd be pretty happy. But hey, a lot of people do call it that, right, Jim? That's why I don't trade it. I don't trust AMD. But it's just, you have to research it and see, hey, is this a potential investment at this point? Because these things are dropping down. It's back down to these low. Thing is, too, like, this is still a positive trend on the 2 hour. Like, this could bounce up right here, right now, and just be back, right? You went to a great level. You did all that work to get to here. Okay, you did all this work, all this chopping here to finally get there. And then you're telling me we're just going to go like this? I don't know about that. I think it would more so be like, hey, B, where's the C, baby? That's it. But am I going to trade AMD? No, I don't trust the stock. I really don't. At this point, because of 2024, I just don't trust the stock enough to be confident with my money behind it, and that's going to make my decision making bad, in my opinion. It can go to 550, but I don't have that assessment, at least for today. Advanced money straight. We just say it again. I don't know what 1 April sales on my products. Try to ask again, Future House. I just don't think maybe I'm being stupid. Sorry, bud. Be interesting to see what CoreWeave does today. Yeah, people are talking about what, that IPO. I think we tried to look at it. Does it even have data up yet? What is it? CRWV, right? Something like that. It didn't even. Yeah, we don't have data on it yet. When does that thing drop anyway? Some solid fall there. Hey, GME, well done, GME. But a small little 30-minute divergence on AMC. That's deep though. Cool to get a monthly IPO. Oh yeah, that would be interesting, but there's no data behind it yet. And usually those can be very sporadic because you could see no volume one day, big volume the next. So your data is going to be very skewed. Just fleeing from the board finally. Intel turning the boat around. I haven't looked at Intel this week. Let me go look. Is that going to be 2 hour? Looks pretty controlled. It doesn't look terrible. Just the 2 hour was able to go negative, so you start to get a little worried. But this would be a great level to bounce from, that 2270. That 2 hour can whip up. That'd be nice. I don't know if you'll get a lot of hints from the 30-minute. I think gaps are worth paying attention to. But Dane, at the same time, you have to understand that markets do whatever markets want to do. If someone buys or someone sells, people believe, oh, we have to fill every gap very quickly. Never say the words have to in the market. Now, the reason that we say have to sometimes is we say the market needs to bounce here, it has to bounce here, or it's at serious risk, right? Because we understand that it doesn't have to bounce there. So yeah, it never has to fill a gap. But throughout history, people have noticed that a lot of the time we do fill the gap within like 5 trading sessions. Okay? So that's from data. That's from data for years and years and years. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit there and go, someone at this exact price has to sell so that we can go down to this level, and then someone down at this price has to buy. Right? And I'm not going to trade based on those because that's saying I'm 100% certain that that's going to happen. And that's just not something you have in markets. You never have the 100% certainty. Market's moving like this to make people bearish. It's working. Sometimes your comments destroy my hope. Well, I'm sorry about that. Just being as honest as I can, right? This will, like, if you think about it, your emotions right now are totally justified. This should make you feel very bearish. It should make you feel those feelings. Hey, it makes me feel those feelings too, but I have very simple things to say. I kind of missed out on the daily move. Maybe there's a weekly move coming down, but we're going into Friday. Monday, we've seen big moves, and the 68% chance zone to close is here. Maybe I'll just watch for that, and then if something goes wrong here, hey, we'll manage risk, and then we'll look at lower levels to see if we can get back in there. But we only have less than 1.5 trading sessions left to do that. This could last all day. This could go down to 550 all day. This could stop right now and turn around. It could do anything right here. Hope is sitting on cash. Ooh, sitting on cash. Stop saying cute things. Damn. Damn, Daniel or Jim. It's like, yeah, if I was seriously hesitant here, which you guys know I was hesitant here, that's why I sold the calls, saw the pullback. This is all I wanted. I wanted a cheaper price than what I sold for up here. I got it, and now I have money to scale in once I see this thing be able to whip back around, whether that is here or here. But just like we filled this gap, you know, everyone talking about gaps all the time, right? We're getting a lot of them. Well, we left another one right here. Unfinished business? We shall see. Yeah, so this is the bad part about that actually is the monthly scale. The monthly scale is teetering on the edge. If you actually close like on Monday at lower levels, you're going to be confirming this monthly down, which means you can get reactions up for the whole month, but it means the trend is starting to shift into pullback at least, which would lean more towards bear market. Right? So we're aware of the signals that kind of go for, okay, yeah, we actually are going to go into a bear market. We're wrong. I'm wrong. Right? But being able to admit I'm wrong will easily make me adaptable. And if I'm surviving, then I can always take the next play. Right? The point here was not to risk my whole bank, right? That's why I'm like 80% in cash right now. So I can't even have the opportunity to risk my whole bank on something like this. Right? I'm not even giving myself the access to that opportunity to put me in a bad spot. I've been trading smaller numbers for, well, it'll be going on like 2 years soon. And we've still produced, which is great. 5 in Spain, so after the beating I'm taking, it's siesta time. Let's go, Bernie. And it's Friday. I don't know about in Spain. I don't know how the time really works. I don't know. My friends in Japan, I think it's like almost Saturday morning over there. So get that siesta going. I don't know why I just did like the water boy, like, my bad. Sometimes I stutter. It ain't my fault. It's kind of my fault. It's me. Did NVIDIA do it? Did it actually get there? I don't think it got there. Oh, that's unfortunate. I thought NVIDIA actually filled the gap. So close, yet so far away. A bounce incoming. King's calling it. SPY should push to 560 soon. 560 is a good retest. 565 will be a great retest, actually. Those are last June numbers. Hey, that's good. I bought, you want to know where I bought GME this yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah. I bought it right down here. No, I don't think I caught it perfectly, but I bought it like right down in here. About 21.25. That's where I took the option out. 2-month option there. Gave it a solid amount of time. Hey, that's fine, Bernie. That's right. No, I didn't bottom ticket. I used the, I believe it was, let me see. I'll show it to you if you want to see it, because the monthly and the weekly are ending. I bought it like on the wick. I tried to buy it on this wick right here. Richard, do you see the weekly came in? I tried to buy it up in these areas, and I think it got filled in here somewhere. Could happen, Kalani. Yeah, so I just utilized the weekly expected move there and was like, yeah, this is definitely not as bad as it seems. It literally gapped up a day ago. And then I looked at the short sale volume and I go, okay, yeah, okay. I go, yep, all right, I'm gonna make a decision. I'm gonna try this for 2 months. Take a nice little sit on it. Yeah, sweep the low. Go down to 550. We're down. Do it. Just do it. At 8 p.m., I swear it went to 0. Oh, shit. That's scary. Oh, it's so ugly. It's so horrible. Oh, this is awful. Oh my goodness, it's so bad. Yeah, but not bad for me yet. Did you get into puts now? Hell no. You do what you want to do, but I don't short things that are at like extreme lows. Yeah, I don't start that position there. If I really was in the thinking of like, hey, this is going to crash down, the 4 hour is going to cross here, we're going to see major downside, we're going to go down to 550. Yeah, I might make that play type of thing. But if I'm wrong, then it could go against me. I think just longer term, this is like the short term play, I would say, if it happens, right? It looks likely, but sweeping the low, we'll see if support comes in. If this happens, it's kind of a short trade. I'm going for the longer trade, which says, yeah, even if that happens, we're going to do this afterwards. That's it. Right? And since I take further out over here, hey, but if we get to here by then, it'll be perfectly fine. I think I only have to get to 585 to like make money overall in the next like month. We have to get to 585. And then I think it would be profitable pretty significantly. That time for puts was when we rallied up. Yeah, exactly. So weekly expected move. Time for puts is here. Now you're getting down towards the opposite side. So like shorting here, you have such a limited amount of space in my opinion. Finn, sweep the leg. That's right. But yeah, the time to go short is when everyone's wanting to go long. Okay. Right. It's just when everyone gets euphoric and you realize that you have data that they might not have. So I didn't short here though, because I thought we could just pull back and see that thing start to squeeze. Right. So I wasn't, and I don't think you had a clear short here. This was pretty positive. All you had was, hey, the reward for the week is dead, so that's a lot of risk. So maybe the risk becomes the reward, and I try to short it, right? But it's easy doing that looking back. My mentality here was not, we are going to experience a mega drop down, right? My mentality was, hey, we might do this, fill that gap, and then turn back up. And I think we're still at those stages now. We have to see how it behaves after retail hours. Let me keep eating. Do you buy contracts so far out? Do you buy out of the money? I buy out of the money. 585. Yeah, so 585 at any point in the next month should print. That is very fair to point out, Richard. I have used AWS services for my old company. It's very good. It's very nice. Very good. We have officially taken out the low. We have seen us come below the previous point where maybe a bunch of stops were sitting. We'll have to see. Till you get a DDoS attack. Kind of facts. I like my alerts going off. Holy shit. Well, maybe one more dip before buy. Exactly. It's like, is this just going to end here and this is all a fake out? Or do we go down and fake out to 550 and really, really make people think stock market crash? That's, I think, the difference there. Feeling confident shorting the VIX. I think VIX got rid of its signals, though. So that is unfortunate. I'll double check. Yeah, VIX overall getting rid of the signals. So the downside doesn't have to be over. And it actually got to the key level to consolidate. So now the way that we end up down towards 550 is this. We see some kind of thing like this, maybe a move up, and then we reject and turn back down, right? If we see that, that's when we'll really be like, uh-oh, that's going down to 550. But that would take you into potentially even Monday. We'll see. I think that's the better way that we would head down, unless it's just going to flush down there. The other thing is the goals achieved. We swept the low, took out the stops. People nice and bearish at the lows here. See what happens. You'd say it has a 65% chance to get here by the end of the day, and you're, what, an hour and a half into the day? So you still have more than, what, 70% left of the day. Once that gets a smaller percentage, once you get to that 1 o'clock, 1:30, you start to go, ooh. But we know on a daily basis that the last hours of the day, right over here, is where most of the decisions are made. We'll find out. How much is it to get into the monthly? How much is it to get into the monthly? Like from here? You mean the SPY? Like how much? To a little over 2%. About 12 points and you're back in there from here. Yeah, I'm kind of doing that a little bit too, Dubs. This is pretty ugly. It is ugly. You want that flash sell to come in. Hey, flash sell came in. What's next? Anyway. All right, guys, this is where, unfortunately, we do have to hop off for our morning stream, but we will be live. Don't worry. We'll be live later on. We'll be live for the close so we can see how this thing wants to behave towards the end of the day. How do you think it's going to end? Do you think we're going to flash down to 550? Do you think we're going to get a bounce and then go to 550? Pretty much in the chat at the end here, just say, hey, do you think we're going to hit 550 in the next few trading sessions? And I think that's fine to say, fine to be aware of. But my money management stuff, my risk management, my management of the trade has not come in yet, weirdly enough. Pretty crazy. Having to hold through some pain here, just managing the emotions while we head down. But at the end of the day, I think that people just don't understand terror. I think April 2nd, I think we're going to start to see upside very, very soon. It could even be a trap today. So I'm just going to be aware of it. But volatility is suggesting that it could stay for a bit of time, up over 10% right now. All right, guys, we will come back later on today over on Rumble. Link should be down there in the description if you want to join us for the closing stream for Power Hour, and we will see what this stuff has in store for us. At the end of the day, I think 550 would just be a cheaper price. So thank you, guys. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out. The live will be on Rumble later today. We do the afternoon stream on Rumble, just so you're aware of Future House. The link's down in that description there. And just so everyone's clear, it's towards like an hour and a half before the close is when we come on. All right, guys, I'm out.